Day afternoon, but it is game day for the Utes. Hope you guys are excited. I certainly am. As I was talking about with Sean, the great OC, during Crosstalk, college football fans are lunatics, but we love you. That's why I love you. And you wait for this for so long, and you only get 6 days like today. You only get 6 days like today. 6 home Utah football games, and it starts today with Southern Utah coming up at 7 o'clock Mountain Time. That's your kick time. Our pregame coverage begins at 3 with Porter Larson and a cast of characters, including former Ute Robert Johnson, including our friend Michelle Bodkin. I'm going to try to sprint up there to do some radio with Porter, my guy, to get him taken care of. If you are looking for something to do, come on up and say hi on the ESPN 700 tailgate situation. We are right across the street from the stadium there on the corner of Guardsman's Way. You can't miss us. Clearwater Distilling is going to be up there. We're going to have some good food up there. I'd love to meet you and say hello as it is game day. So, a bit of a sprint today on the program, and it is the beginning of what is hopefully a very successful and fun year for Utah football. Now, there's a bevy of other college football games to talk about and get excited for, namely one that we are going to see tonight. There's actually, I don't know if you guys knew this, not to do the Trump thing. Nobody knows this. Nobody's talking about it. But there are 4 games tonight that include Big 12 teams. UCF is going to welcome in New Hampshire. Kansas is going to welcome in college football powerhouse Lindenwood. But the game I'm really interested in is in Boulder at Folsom Field. Colorado is welcoming in North Dakota State. North Dakota State's one of the best FCS teams in the country. They finished second last year. They've won a bevy of national championships. Colorado, up until about an hour ago, was a 9.5-point favorite at home against an FCS team. That line has moved to 10.5, but that could be an interesting game. So there are some other college football storylines we'll talk about. Of course, BYU is going to welcome in Southern Illinois coming up on Saturday, 6 o'clock Mountain Time on ESPN+. Hopefully you guys have ESPN+. If you don't, dial 801-424-DISH. BYU only a 14-point favorite there, which kind of caught me off guard. They still have not officially announced their starting quarterback. Aaron Roderick said earlier today that they know who it is. I think they've known who it is for a couple of weeks. It is interesting talking to people around town, though. There still is kind of a split as far as who they believe it's going to be. Is it going to be Bohannon? Is it going to be Retzlaff? Nobody's sure. The big noon kickoff on Fox with friend of the show, Gus Johnson, will be Penn State, West Virginia in Morgantown. That's a big game for Big 12 fans. OK State's going to take on South Dakota State. Cincinnati will see Townsend. Iowa State welcomes in North Dakota. K-State welcomes in UT Martin. Baylor, how about Tarleton State? UNLV Houston, Abilene Christian, Texas Tech, New Mexico, Arizona. And an interesting one in Tempe is Wyoming travels to take on Arizona State. So, of course, we'll be all over the Big 12 tip and get you taken care of to cover everything that you guys need to know. Other pieces of news and notes today. Steph Curry has reached a 1-year, $62.6 million extension. RSL is back in action coming up on Saturday against New England. And so it's a great time of year. We're high speed ahead to pro football, just in about, a week or so away from pro football. And then you're going to blink. NBA training camps are going to be here. And here we go. So hopefully you guys are ready for it. I am pumped for the game today. So let's get to it. Dave Bartu will join us. But before we get to the college football matrix on this Thursday afternoon, courtesy of our good friends at Beer Bar. Looking for a place to watch the Ute game? Head on downtown to Beer Bar, right downtown Salt Lake City, Utah. On this lovely, picturesque Thursday afternoon, it's time now for your opening tip. Game day, it's here. You guys have been waiting for months and months and months, and now we have Utah football back. You can feel it around town, running some errands this morning, walking the dog around campus. We walked past Rice-Eccles Stadium, walked past the tailgate. Folks are out. They're ready. They're proud. They're ready to go. This game probably won't tell us a ton about the University of Utah. They are now, the up-to-date line as of 2/18, Utah is a 40-point favorite over SUU. So a couple of years ago, Utah handled them 73-7. I don't think today is going to go like that, but I don't think there's going to be a lot of anxious moments. Now, Delane Fitzgerald has done a really good job of turning that program around down in Cedar City. A 1-10 year, his first year there. Since then, they're 11-11 in 2 seasons, including 6-5 a year ago. They joined us from the United Athletic Conference, which is ranked as the 3rd toughest FCS conference, right behind the Big Sky and the Missouri Valley. And SUU is picked to finish 3rd in their respective conference this year. So this is not the team Utah saw just a couple of years ago, but I still anticipate a situation where hopefully by halftime, Cameron Rising, Brant Keithy, and the majority of the other starters are just chilling, getting their ice done, making sure they're taken care of and healthy, and a very low anxiety night at Rice-Eccles Stadium that I will characterize today on the show as more of a celebration of Utah football. I would encourage you to say yes. That's a theme on the program. Say yes. What do I mean by that? Well, it's just Southern Utah. It's a Thursday night. You might have kids. You might have work responsibilities. So if a buddy calls you and says, hey, I got a couple of tickets tonight to the game against SUU, don't say no. Say yes. Go to the tailgate. Get there early. Walk around. Get a feel for what the community is excited about as it pertains to Utah football. Get in your seats early. Get there loud. Support these young men and this coaching staff. And then hang around for halftime. As the University of Utah, at halftime tonight, will honor Alex Jensen as their inaugural Ring of Honor honoree. Not to be redundant, he will be the first person enshrined into the Ring of Honor that Utah football is starting this year. So there are going to be a bevy of Ute football royalty members in the house tonight. So come on up and join us. I'm going to head up to the tailgate early. I'm going to do a little radio with my guy Porter prior to the start of the game. Porter's going to take over at 3 o'clock. He's going to have a bit of a cast of characters joining him for Utah football pregame. That's going to be in our tailgate. Clearwater Distilling is back. They're going to provide some booze if you're into that. If you're not a drinker, we've got water, soda, whatever you want. We have great food up there. Throughout the course of the regular season, over the next 5 games, we will give out some Ute tailgate passes for our ESPN 700 tailgate. So it's not come one, come all, but join us. And if you come up and I'm there and you see me and you say, what's up, I will get you in. That's my pledge to you on the opening day for Utah football as Southern Utah rolls into town to take on the Utes. Like I said, 40-point favorite. It was a 38.5-point line, and Utah is a 40-point favorite. Before I sign off in just about 30 minutes from right now, I'll give you my pick for the game tonight, and then we'll talk a little big picture Utah football. But, of course, there are other college football storylines going on right now. As I referenced earlier, really curious to see, as our friend Josh Pate, friend of the show, he calls it the Dion tax, right? When a lot of people who didn't know much about college football felt obligated to talk about college football last year because of what a big story Dion became. There's a dirty little secret behind closed doors, no matter who the media member is. If their boss says, hey, a lot of people are paying attention to this, you should talk about it. And that led to blowhards like Stephen A. Smith predicting Colorado was going to win the Pac-12, and all of us out here just laughing at it. Colorado, an hour prior to Utah, will kick off at Folsom Field in Boulder against North Dakota State, where they're only a 10-point favorite against an FCS team. And about an hour ago, they were only a 9-point favorite. That line has moved. There are actually 4 Big 12 teams in action tonight. ESPN Plus is going to be your home for all of them. It's UCF, New Hampshire. It's Kansas and Lindenwood. And as I referenced, Colorado, North Dakota State. Of course, in a couple of days, it's time for BYU football as well, as BYU, yet to name a starting quarterback officially, will welcome in Southern Illinois at 6 o'clock at Lavelle Edwards Stadium down in Provo. BYU, a 14-point favorite. That over-under is 49.5. And then Utah State will get rolling as well. Kind of curious, well, not kind of, very curious to see how these players will respond to Nate Dreiling after the chaos that happened in Logan during the offseason that saw Blake Anderson, Jerry Bovee, and some others lose their job. But college football is back. Utah State's going to open up against Robert Morris at 6 o'clock up there in Logan. So college football is back. Could not be more excited for it. And obviously, that's going to be the bevy of our coverage. Coming up tomorrow, I'll be live up in Ogden at Wasatch Front Kia. We're going to have Eric Weddle on the show. We'll have Craig Bolerjack, Gordon Monson on the show. Max Brown's going to stop by. So, of course, we'll break it down from start to finish. Like I referenced earlier, tonight's more of a celebration, in my opinion, of Utah football. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to Southern Utah, but it just doesn't feel like there's going to be a lot that we'll learn. Hopefully, we will see some of the young Ute players, namely Isaac Wilson, because, look, this is Isaac Wilson's first college game. And no, it's not Ohio State, but I want to see what Isaac Wilson looks like against grown-ups, against older players that play for Southern Utah. And if this goes to script, hopefully Cam Rising and others are simply on the bench at halftime, icing up, getting ready for next week when it will be Baylor and Dave Aranda trying to coach for his job. So Utah football is back. College football is back. We are right around the corner from pro football as well. The other little piece of news that broke today is Steph Curry has signed a one-year, $62.6 million extension with the Golden State Warriors. There are now 3 NBA players that have made over $500 million in their career as far as NBA salaries go. LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and now Stephen Curry. And right around the corner, the NBA will get going with some training camp, and then we'll be able to talk a little jazz. But, of course, right now, most, if not all, the attention will be on college football. Reminder, 3 o'clock, 45 minutes from right now, Porter Larson and a cast of characters, including myself, will get you ready for kickoff with the Ute pregame show. And then the voice of the Utes, Bill Riley. And, by the way, the Bill Riley Mullet Watch has started. Bill Riley joined me earlier this week, and he agreed that if Utah football goes 12-0 in the regular season, he is going to grow a Mike Gundy mullet to call Ute football games, okay? So the Bill Riley Mullet Watch has begun. It starts tonight. Of course, Scott Mitchell, Stevenson, Sylvester along for the ride as well. All right, one guest today. It's Dave Bartu. He's going to join me coming up on the other side. And then we're going to wrap it up and hand it over to Porter Larson live at the ESPN 700 tailgate. Beautiful Thursday game day. It's great to have you guys with us. Don't go anywhere. Keep it right here on ESPN 700.
Jordan Noyes has it teed off on the north 35-yard line. He'll kick to the south. And we're ready to play football here tonight at Rice-Eccles Stadium. A high end-over-end kick that will go into the end zone and be returned. And now they'll say a touchback. He gave the sign for the fair catch. That was Rashad White, and then he decided to bring it out. You can't do that, so ASU will have it 1st and 10 at their own 25-yard line. And we will see for the first time tonight the guy that committed to Utah, they changed his mind. That's quarterback Jaden Daniels, a 6'3 junior who's really good, Scott, a dual-threat quarterback.
Yeah, he's going to be a challenge for Utah. He's a guy that can throw the ball very accurately, and he can also make and extend plays running the football. So it'll be interesting to see how Utah handles him tonight.
It won't be White, though, that starts out in the backfield. It'll be Tranum that will be in the backfield. Chip takes it. Play action pass. Daniels looking down the field, throwing down the field. Is it caught? It is. Ricky Pearsall makes the grab on the near sideline for a gain of, what are they going to call it, 12 yards and a first down. So a little play action on first down. Pearsall gets both feet down, and a 12-yard gain here for the Devils. First down and 10. They'll move it to the 37-yard line. Utah with a 4-man down front. They'll spread the field with 4 wide receivers. Daniels this time will hand off. Right side, pushing the pile forward to about the 40-yard line and a gain of 3. Decent run on the play that time by Arizona State off that right-hand side.
Yeah, that's a good sign there by Utah. Playing downhill early in this game is so important for this defense. You can't let this offensive line get into these linebackers in the second level.
Train in the back of the backfield on 2nd down and 7 from the ASU 40, and Utah crowding the line of scrimmage. Daniels now changing the play. 2 tights and 2 wides here for the Devils as Daniels operates out of the gun. He'll scramble to his right and get into the open field beyond the 45 and diving out near midfield to about the 50-yard line. He picks up 10 yards. That's what he can do. Simple zone read that time. And the tackle by Fabian Marks in the open field, first down for ASU.
Yeah, and Utah had the play covered. They had 9 guys at line of scrimmage. Should have had that play.
Here we go. They're going to throw the flanker screen to the outside. It's caught there, through some traffic and down. is Brian Thompson with just his 4th catch of the year. The former Ute picks up 4 yards to the Utah 46-yard line.
Yeah, and that's something that USC did fairly effective is this bubble screen, and I'm sure Utah is going to see a heavy dose of it.
5 wide look now, and Daniels backpedals to pass. Pressure coming, firing over the middle. He's got the underneath man beyond the 40 to the 35-yard line. Ricky Pearsall again. And another good pickup, that time for ASU. Picking up 12, making 11 more yards, and a first down to the Utah 35. They're having no trouble, Scott, on this opening drive moving the football.
Yeah, and it's just, it's not just high percentage, quick throwing, quick hitting runs. I mean, I don't know.
3 wide, the tight end. Train him in the backfield. He'll now motion to the right-hand side of Jaden Daniels. Utah rushing 5 this time. Daniels surveys, scrambles out to his right, looks down the field, fires behind his man, incomplete. Trying to get that to Curtis Hodges, who's kind of a hybrid tight end wide receiver look. He's one of their leading wide receivers. Incomplete. That time a little bit of pressure on Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, and Utah brings a corner blitz here, and really it's kind of a run blitz, but just a little bit behind his wide receiver was Jaden Daniels. But again, you move him in the pocket a little bit, make him a little bit nervous, show him these different looks, and over time that stuff kind of wears on you as a quarterback.
3 wide, a tight end, and now a tailback. Trainham has been the guy so far. Makes you wonder if Rashad White's going to play here tonight. Hand off, Trainham. Nope, Daniels on that right-hand side. Bounces to the outside. He's cut down. Now a flag flies. We may have a holding call coming against ASU here as they upend Daniels out of bounds at about the 32-yard line. We'll wait on the call here. Kyle Whittingham's got a decision to make. Here it is.
Holding.
Yep, they're going to get Jalen Conyers, one of those hybrid tight end wide receivers, on that play, and they'll back him up 10 yards. So.
Yeah, this is an easy one to see here. I mean, it's out in open space, and clearly he holds there. But aside from that, Utah handled that really well. I mean, this is a keep by Jaden Daniels here, and Utah played it very nicely.
Utah's going to have to get a defender on this side of the field. There's swims to the left-hand side. Nobody out here to cover it. Now they'll go empty again. 5 wide look here for ASU. Daniels by himself in the shotgun. 4-man rush, now a 5-man rush off the edge, down the middle. Caught!
Game day for the University of Utah. It's finally here. SUU is the opponent. Utah's a cool 40-point favorite, and college football is back, which means it's always fun to catch up with our next guest, the College Football Matrix, Dave Bartoo, back on the show on a Thursday. Dave, happy game day. How we doing?
Dude, I am doing great, other than the fact I left my charging cord at home. I've been on Zoom meeting with collectives all day about NIL and advanced recruiting analytics, and the AC went out in my diesel pickup, so I'm sitting here sweating with no battery talking college football. So let's hope we hang on for 15 minutes.
All right, man. Well, then let's get into it. Sounds like – and you know what, Dave? I would expect nothing less from the College Football Matrix. Never a dull moment with you. There's no doubt about that.
No, it never slows down.
All right, so let's get into it as far as your expectations. Ute football in the Big 12. Vegas likes them to win. So does the media. What does Dave Bartoo think? Big picture for the Utes this year.
Well, big picture. I mean, you have the two things that are important to me: recruiting and coaching. That's it, right? I don't even care really where the games are played so much, but home field is nice. You got the number 1 recruiter in the conference. You got the number 2 overall coaching staff in the conference. That's a playoff team, year in and year out. That's the expectation. Until Kyle hangs it up and Morgan takes over, this is the playoff This is the same as Ohio State and Michigan and Penn State, your top 3 recruiters, right? Bama, Georgia, LSU. That's the expectation now, and it's a great place to be because the opportunity is as much as the coaching staff wants to make of it.
As you reference your bread and butter, coaching and recruiting, how did Utah climb up the Dave Bartoo ranks to the point where you were so aware of what they were doing and think so highly of them. I mean, it was obviously not overnight. Like, when did you see this spike in Utah coaching and recruiting rankings?
Well, the recruiting rankings, we expected on average a 42% change when going from lower level up to Power 5. Okay, so with Utah, who recruited in the 60s and 70s, we'd expect them to be in the high 20s, low 30s, high 30s. They're in the low 30s now. Okay, so they're where we expected when they made that move up. Coaching wise, it takes time to obviously build a really, really good coaching staff, but we've been on Whittingham for a long time. Long before we started discussing it. You could see it on paper. We also felt Andy Ludwig was underrated, and when he brought him in, Andy's done what we expected him to do and have a pretty efficient offense. Not necessarily every year, because it's hard to do it year in and out in college football, even though Morgan seems to do it with the defense almost every year, but he has a hiccup. So it's taken some time to be there, but over the last 4 years, it's been at least a top 30 staff overall, because the continuity is there. He doesn't lose a lot of guys to other programs, and that's a big deal when it comes down to how the numbers evaluate a staff.
Who else in the Big 12 scores high with your metrics with coaching and recruiting, and who are Utah's peers as far as competitors to maybe win the conference this year?
See, the thing is everybody's a little bit mixed. You have K-State, which is a really good staff, but not a great recruiter. You got a decent recruiter at TCU, not a great staff. The numbers aren't a Sonny Dykes fan. I think 2 years ago was more lightning in a bottle than really good coaching. Oklahoma State, solid recruiting, low 40s, high 30s. Gundy is a fantastic head coach. His offensive defensive coordinator, I'd trade just about everybody in FBS for those two guys. So the combination of talent and coaching is it's Utah, and then it's everybody else. It's another tier. Nobody has the talent coaching combination, in my opinion, on paper, that Utah has going into the season.
Let me ask you about Gus Malzahn and UCF, because it seems like a lot of the Big 12 previews I've been reading and listening to are pointing to them, and Josh Pate joined us this week, pointing to them as the team that not a lot of people are talking about, but a lot of people should be talking about. Obviously, Gus won the highest of levels at Auburn. Do you know much about what he's building at UCF? What are your thoughts on Malzahn?
Gus is crafty as hell, man. I mean, he is really good. He is a really, really good coach, and he's proven it at UCF. He's a really good offensive coordinator. Recruiting, UCF is starting to see the Power 4 bump now. We're seeing UCF. So I think UCF's a long ways away from Utah, TCU level recruiting talent, probably another 3 or 4 years. But again, excellent head coach. I think he has a better staff than Oklahoma State, but doesn't quite have the talent of an Oklahoma State. But you talk about head coaching overall, you got Gundy, you got Malzahn, you got Whittingham, you got Kleiman. Those are a lot of the class acts of the Big 12 right now.
What about our brethren about 40 miles down south, where Vegas has the over-under for BYU at 4.5? They're picked to finish 13th out of 16, and Kalani's a friend of the show, and so is Aaron Roderick, but not a lot is expected out of BYU, Dave. What do you think?
Well, they haven't changed their recruiting, have they? They're still a mid-60s recruiter. They're picked 13th, and guess what? They're the 13th best high school recruiter over the last 4 years. That's the way it works. So, to me, I think BYU has a good staff. I don't think you're firing everybody and getting any better of a staff. What makes things win is recruiting. So, unless BYU starts recruiting in the 50s and then in the 40s and then in the 30s, this is where they're going to be unless the recruiting changes.
Does Utah have to win the Big 12 to get into the CFP? I know.
No.
Okay, go ahead.
No, they don't. No, they don't. They don't. They can't. They got to be at least 10-2 though. Minimum 10-2. Which means they're probably in the championship game, right? So they need to be 11-2. I think if they go into the championship game 11-1 and lose it, and they go 11-2, they can get in. You don't want to be at 10-2. And you don't want to be at 10-3. There's been 14 teams with 10 wins in the last 10 years not make the top 11. So being at 10 wins is absolutely not a guarantee. I believe you've got to be at 11, but I still think you could get there at 11-1, lose it, and still be top 12 overall and get into the playoffs.
Last year, you had some very entertaining and passionate opinions on Deion Sanders in Colorado. I wonder what, and we're going to see them tonight against North Dakota State. I wonder what, because they have 5 new offensive linemen. I wonder what the college football matrix analytics say about year 2 under Coach Prime down in Boulder.
Well, I think his show is a bunch of BS. So the countdown to 0-12 starts tonight, baby. As a fan, the countdown to 0-12 starts right now, which is entirely possible to me because I think they have one of the lowest graded staffs in the entire Big 12. They have the 5th worst offensive coordinator in the NFL this century as their new offensive coordinator. So I don't buy it. I don't buy the transfers. I'll take Dabo high school recruiting over transfers any day. And I think they're going to be out-talented and out-coached in just about every game. And every single game they win, I think you can credit the quarterback, Sanders, not the coach, Sanders.
So I wonder what your analytics and your studying would say about this, because it seems like a lot of people, including guests on this show, believe that this year there are 4, if not 5 legit programs, and then there's a drop-off, and Vegas says the same. Georgia, Ohio State, Oregon, Texas, Bama, and then there's a drop-off before you get to Ole Miss, Notre Dame, Penn State, etc. Do you agree with that assertion? 5 elite teams in college football this year?
Yeah, I think there's 5 contending. Really, I think there's 4 contending for the national championship. The Oregon, the Ohio State, the Georgia, and the Texas, those are your only programs that meet the minimum recruiting requirements, 23 of the last 25 national champions. Okay. They meet the minimum coaching requirements, 25 of 25. They meet the minimum requirements of performance last year, 25 of 25. The reason Alabama is out to me, until proven otherwise, is Nick Sheridan was named the play caller, the OC. He's called 24 games at a below average level. He's the worst graded offensive coordinator in the SEC. So now DeBoer, on the other hand, excellent play caller, excellent offensive coordinator. I'm not buying Bama unless I see DeBoer orchestrating the offense. If it's Sheridan, they're going to lose their way out. He's not good enough, but the other 4 teams, absolutely. That is the national championship discussion, in my opinion.
Let me go back to the Big 12 and ask you about Arizona, because, we are the new kid on the block in the Big 12, along with our Pac-12 brethren, and we've left you guys behind, and I'll miss Oregon. I'll miss the markets of the Pac-12. I've already been painted as a snob, Dave, but so we can move on.
That's fine. Well, when you're the number 1 recruiter in the conference, guess what? That's where you get. That's how you get to talk. You get to talk the talk. Yep. So now you got to prove it.
Yep, there you go. So what do you make of what Arizona could? Oh, did we lose him? I think that was that. Dave Bartu. So in addition to being a college football analytical mind and somebody who covers college football, he owns a cannabis dispensary. He's part owner of a bar. He hunts elk. I'm not too stunned that his cell phone gave out. So Utah football, it's here. Game day. Interesting stuff from Dave, though. If you're interested in his analytical breakdown of coaching staffs, in addition to recruiting classes, he is on Twitter at CFB Matrix is where you find him. All right, James, let's see if we can get Ryan from the Dish Pros on. Then we'll catch a quick break. And our final segment today, we will give you our game pick for tonight. We will give you our thoughts on the Utah football season big picture. Then we're going to send it over to Porter Larson, who is live up on campus. And I was just handed 10 tailgate passes for our ESPN 700 tailgate. So here's what we'll do. I'm going to go up, and I'm going to do a segment with Porter coming up at 4:30. If you want to come hang out with us, just roll up to the ESPN 700 tailgate. And then if you see me, just say hello. Yell my name and say you heard me talking about tailgate passes. And I'll roll over. I'll give you a tailgate pass. You can come in. You can have some food from Wingers. And then Clearwater's there for some cocktails if you're into such things. Budweiser will be up there. I only have 10, and I need 4. That means there are 6 available. And we only get 6 home games, man. We're only guaranteed 6 home games, as I talked about segment 1. So say yes to showing up tonight. Stay in your seats for halftime. As Alex Smith, potentially the greatest football player, according to some, it's certainly debatable, but certainly all of us remember that great season back in 2004 when Alex and that 2004 team went undefeated. Great selection by the Utah Athletic Department for the very first honoree inducted into the Ring of Honor. I know there have been a lot of debates about who could be next. There are a lot of great candidates. I had Mark Harlan on the show the week they announced the criteria set for coaches or players or Utah alums as far as what they needed to have accomplished in order to get in there. It is, and it should be rarefied air. You don't want 50, 60 guys in there. You want the cream of the crop. And I think it's an excellent selection. Alex Smith, the very first honoree in the Ring of Honor. All right, hopefully you guys are ready to roll for the game tonight. You need ESPN Plus. If you have a dated television setup, there's one thing to do. It's call my buddy Ryan from the Dish Pros at 801-424-DISH. Upgrade, get all the football, both college and pro. You also get Jazz games. Brand new equipment. You'll save a grip of money. Your job is to dial 801-424-DISH. What's going on, Ryan?
Hey, thanks so much, Spence. This is the reality of TV now. You got to be prepared and have the very best system. And Dish has built an awesome setup. Because it's set up so you can have, the full comforts of the massive DVR, biggest DVR in the market, auto records your favorite games, auto hops commercials, auto records the local channels during prime time, which, especially during football season, that's a really nice little feature. But guys, here's the thing. It also has the ability to be able to switch to channel 301 and be able to watch Amazon Video Prime, watch Thursday Night Football or anything else they got going on. Or if you want to watch the Sunday Ticket, you can watch that through YouTube on the system. Plus, ESPN Plus, a great example. That is an app that just can be added onto the service, and you just select it, and boom, you're watching the game. And guys, that is how easy the system works. Call us up if you're not set up with this technology, your TVs don't work the way you want them to work, you don't have the good programming. We've got the best deal, 2-year price guarantee, 2 years worth of credits, movie channels. We'll throw in the multi-sports pack for a year, which is a ton of good channels, but one of my favorites, the NFL Red Zone. You get that for this whole season. You call today and get set up. Plus, I'll throw in dinner at JCW's. Call us now, 424-DISH. It's 801-424-DISH.
All right, Ryan from the Dish Professionals. Do you live or work in a building with an elevator that just doesn't seem to cooperate and just loves to inconvenience you on a regular basis? Do your property or your building manager a favor. Tell them to call Metro Elevator, Utah's preferred vertical transportation experts, at 801-946-7003. That's 801-946-7003. All right, coming up next, final segment. Give you our picks for the game tonight, talk a little Utah big picture, and get you guys pumped for tonight. A celebration of Utah football. SUU is in town. Porter's going to take over at 3 with their cast of characters. I'm going to run up there and do a segment with Porter at our tailgate. Would love to say hello to you. And then we'll hand it over to Bill Riley, Scott Mitchell, and Stevenson Sylvester. Utah football is back. Keep it right here on ESPN 700.
White stays in the ball game, is the tailback. Daniels in the backfield. He'll backpedal to pass. Surveys, fires, outside, caught, and is it caught? Jalen Conyers there. Boy, I thought he juggled that going to the ground. They'll say that's a catch as he picks up 6 yards at the 12-yard line and a first down.
Yeah, and Utah didn't even have anyone on him at all. But, yeah, it's a catch. He got it completely in his grasp.
So first down and 10 for Arizona State on the opening drive of the ball game. To the Utah 12 they go. Turn and a toss sweep to the left-hand side. They've got a man at the 10. They've got a man at the 5. That's Pearsall. And a flag flies. I think we're going to have another holding penalty here on ASU.
Holding. Offense. Number 74.
Yep, they're going to get Casey Hatch. Another one of those hybrid wide receiver tight ends on the hold that time. That erased what would have been about a 4-yard gain inside the 10 to Pearsall. And back it up now outside the 20-yard line.
Yeah, and you hold on that edge like that, it's pretty easy for that official to see. So if you're going to hold, you got to hold on the inside of guard area.
First down and 20, back at the 22-yard line. Daniels, hands, running back, near side, running room, inside the 10. And all the way down to the 8-yard line. goes Rachaad White. Fabian Marks on the tackle again. He's been busy here early. Pickup of 14 yards on the play. 2nd down and 6 now. Daniels empties the backfield, backpedals into the shotgun. 3 wide right, 2 wide left here for Daniels. Surveys, looks, scrambles out to his right-hand side, throws to the end zone, back of the end zone, caught and dropped. Oh, he had a man open. That was Andre Johnson who had it on the back line and dropped it. That'll bring up 3rd down.
Yeah, right now this pace that Arizona State's going at, a lot of no huddle, a lot of different people are getting involved in the offense, has clearly created a lot of confusion for Utah. You've got some guys that have been wide open, and Utah hasn't done a very good job of covering and make sure they got everyone accounted
They
for.
can get a first down at the Utah 2-yard line, 3rd down and 5. Daniels and White in the gun. They motion White out of the backfield. Daniels looks, surveys, throws all by himself at the goal line and in. That's a touchdown for Jalen Conyers. First touchdown of the season for Conyers. 3rd catch of the season for Conyers, and there was nobody in his area code. He was wide open.
Well, Utah's in a man coverage, and they looked like they tried to switch it off, and both guys went to the back, swinging out of the backfield, and there's just poor communication or understanding what you're trying to do defensively, and you're going to have a player wide open.
So Christian Zendejas of the famous Zendejas kicking family on for the PAT. It's up, and it's good. And a good start for the Devils here. 9:50 to play in the first quarter. ASU marches down the field and scores a touchdown on their opening drive. They lead at 7-0. Logan Tyler, who's got 27 touchbacks this year, will tee it up. Kicking south to north here. Britton Covey back to receive this kick for Utah. 9:50 to play here in the first quarter. 7-0 Arizona State. Going to be with you tonight here from the Big O Tires broadcast booth. Bill Riley, Scott Mitchell. We'll try and get to our guy Stevenson Sylvester downstairs in just a bit. Here's the kick by Tyler. It's high and end over end, and Covey will let it go out the back of the end zone for a touchback. And so now we see Cam Rising in the Utah offense for the first time tonight. Rising in the offense put up 486 yards of total offense against USC a week ago. They ran it well. They threw it well. We talked in the pregame show, Scott, about a good start. They really need one now, down 7-0.
Yeah, and what you do offensively is you march down the field and you answer back and you score, just like just give your defense a rest and but you've got to be aggressive. You've got to go have a drive right here, and you got to score points.
TJ Pledger in the ball game. Cam Rising with a 5-wide look on first down. He surveys the field, throws over the middle, incomplete. Trying to get that ball squeezed in. It looked like the Britton Covey on the play. There wasn't much there, and it was good coverage in the middle by the linebacker. That goes incomplete.
Yeah, and this is that aggressiveness that I was talking about. ASU played man coverage. I'm not sure how that wasn't pass interference on the other side of the field. Very, very aggressive, hands-on by these secondary players so far by ASU.
TJ Pledger begins as the tailback of the ball game. Two wide, two tights here for Utah. Pledger bouncing to the outside, shuffling his feet, and then tackled in the open field. It's swarmed in the open field by that ASU defense. Darian Butler, the linebacker, there first for ASU, and now it's 3rd down and 10.
All right, it's
it looks like Utah might have
Utah
something on that edge, but just a
Porter Larson, who produces my radio show, The Drive with Spence Checketts. Tune in every day 2 to 6. Tune in every day to every single one of our shows. Dan Patrick in the morning, of course, Sean O'Connell, and the midday show now taking over for Riles, and Sean's doing a hell of a job. And then my show every day 2 to 6. Porter's going to take over. Coming up in just a few minutes, Michelle Bodkin, Robert Johnson, and others, including me. I'm going to head up there and do the final segment with Porter coming up at 4:30, and then we'll hand the reins over to Bill Riley, Scott Mitchell, and Sly Stevenson Sylvester as it is kick time. All right, so talked about this earlier. I'm not going to paint SUU as a world beater. You know, it's one of the things I love about BYU media members. No matter who they play, they paint the opponent as a world beater. So you think that BYU just pulled off the impossible. I'm not going to do that. However, Coach Fitzgerald, Delane Fitzgerald, has done a really good job with this little program down in Cedar City. They join us out of the United Athletic Conference. They're picked to finish 3rd in the conference this year. Coach Fitzgerald's first year, 1-10. He's 500 since then, including 6 and 5 last year. And they basically returned everybody from the team a year ago. And remember, stages like this for a school such as SUU, this is their Super Bowl. It's their payday. It's how they finance their athletic department. And when it comes to a setup like this, you can say what you want about that. And these games, by the way, at some point will go away, which leads us to a larger conversation about the state of college football for the little guys that we don't have time to do right now. But make no mistake, like they're going to roll up there, and a lot of these players want to showcase what they can do because I don't mean this disrespectfully. Most of them would like to transfer and play for a school like the University of Utah. There's some former Utes on the roster. They've got a running back who returns named Braylon Whitstock, who had a really good year last year. So my point is, I don't think this is the team that Utah rolled 73-7 or whatever the hell it was. So I'm going to give you my final score for the game tonight, and then we'll say goodnight. I do want to remind you that I will be up in Ogden tomorrow on remote at Wasatch Front Kia. We're going to have Eric Weddle on the show. We're going to have Craig Bowler, Jack Gordon Monson on the show. We're going to have Max Brown on the show. So we'll take care of you. We'll break everything down. We're going to preview week 1 of college football. And I have some tailgate passes for our tailgate today at the ESPN 700 tailgate. I am going to say this. If you roll up and you're one of the dudes that steals all of our prizes, if I recognize you, you're not coming in. I'm tired of all y'all. But if you want to come hang out with us, all you need to do is come up to the ESPN 700 tailgate and then tell me the score I'm about to give you. I've got 6 passes available. You can get some food from Wingers. You can get a cocktail from Clearwater Distilling or maybe a beer from Budweiser. We also have water and soda if you're not into such things. So before I break to make some space for Porter coming up for the official Utah pregame show, my final score for the game tonight, Utah 49, SUU 6. That's how I think it plays out. I don't think it's going to be the 73-7 drubbing we saw just a couple of years ago. But, guys, it's back. Utah football is here. Say yes to fun things. You get 6 days like this all year. 6 Utah home games. The first one's tonight at 7 o'clock. That's going to do it. Special thanks to Dave Bartu and James. My name is Spence Checketts. Utah football pregame style comes your way. Coming up next right here on your home of the Utes, ESPN.